Welcome to the Ben Daniel Podcast, where we're calling a spade a spade. Caitlin Clark, in her WNBA debut, does another monstrous number that the WNBA would only dream of being able to obtain. The WNBA spent nearly 20 years praying to you-know-who, saying, please, give me a star. Give me somebody that I can sell this measly trash product to. Please help me out here. And who answers their call? Caitlin Clark answers their call above all else. Oh man, 1.84 million viewers on ABC for Caitlin Clark's WNBA playoff debut. 1.84 million viewers going head to head against the Philadelphia Eagles, against the Giants, going head to head against the Cowboys, against the Ravens. Caitlin Clark. The Caitlin Clark effect is real, folks. And this number proves it's real. Trust me, this proves it is real. Look at these numbers of the recent WNBA finals. Look at these numbers. Caitlin Clark in a playoff game does more than every single WNBA finals game ever except for two. Except for the Comets and New York. Other than those two games, which were finals games, by the way, in the inception of the league, by the way, only those two games have produced a higher number than Caitlin Clark's WNBA debut. Now, we knew this would be quite the number. I mean, the regular season numbers speak for themselves. Caitlin Clark, 1.178 million in the regular season, 1.5 if we take away NBA TV, but that's a story for another day. Compared to all the other WNBA games, 394,000. Womp, womp, womp. Now the question is, how does that do compared to the rest of the league? How did that do compared to the Atlanta Dream and New York Liberty? Oh my goodness. Las Vegas Aces and Seattle Storm. Oh my goodness. Phoenix Mercury, Diana Taurasi, Brittany Griner. Oh my goodness, against the Minnesota Lynx. Those numbers are going to do great, folks. WNBA basketball has never been better. Everybody watches women's sports. Oh, do they? Do they now? Let's take a look, folks. Let's take a look. The rest of the league. Jesus, this guy even had to put a caveat. Don't shoot the messenger, folks. I'm just giving you the numbers. Seattle, Las Vegas, 461,000. Huh? Atlanta, Liberty, 410,000. Come again? Phoenix Mercury, the GOAT. This could be her final ride. What is she, the Undertaker? What the hell is this? The freaking Phoenix Mercury versus the Minnesota Lynx. 403,000. Folks, Caitlin Clark did 1.8 million in her WNBA debut. 4 times as many people tuned in to watch Caitlin Clark over the rest of the league. One more time. 4 times as many people decided to watch Caitlin Clark over the rest of the league. Let's just look at some numbers real quick, and we'll get off this. Atlanta versus New York was the first game of the day. 410,000 people. Caitlin Clark, 1.8 million people in her playoff debut. That means around 1.2 million people. 1.4 million people, said, all right, boop, time to watch Caitlin Clark. 1.4 million people said time to watch Caitlin Clark. Not time to watch the WNBA playoffs. Not time to watch the WNBA. Not time to watch everybody loves women's sport. No, time to watch Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever make their playoff debut. Caitlin Clark is the needle mover. 46,000 old fans. Do you guys now understand why Caitlin Clark got the ABC time slot? Do you guys now understand why all these companies, ESPN, Fox Sports, decide to talk about Caitlin Clark and not the rest of the bums in the WNBA? Do you guys finally, are you able to grasp that with your brains now? No, not yet. Okay, doesn't matter. Caitlin Clark is the real deal. Holyfield, grab yourself a cup of hot oatmeal. She is legit, folks. The Caitlin Clark effect is not slowing down, and there is nothing that can be done about it. If I'm the rest of the league, if I'm somebody like Asia Wilson, who these fans have said, you're the face of this league, you're the most popular player in the league. Folks, if I'm Asia Wilson, I'm embarrassed. If I'm Diana Taurasi, I'm embarrassed. If I'm Breanna Stewart, I'm embarrassed. Minnesota Lynx players, they don't seem to have an ego. Nafisa Collier probably can care less. But Asia Wilson, Breanna Stewart, everybody watches women's sport. Get out of here with that nonsense. No, wrong. Answer is wrong. Everybody watches Caitlin Clark play basketball. It is what it is, folks. It can't be any more clear than it is now. Indiana's blowout loss was the most watched WNBA game to ever air on an NFL Sunday, surpassing Game 2 of the 2003 WNBA Finals that had 1.28 million. Folks, the most watched WNBA game ever on an NFL Sunday belongs to who? Caitlin Clark Kent. Caitlin Clark Kent. When we looked at the most watched WNBA Finals numbers, only 2 finals have a higher number than what Caitlin Clark produced in her debut. Folks, imagine when we get a competent head coach. Imagine when we get some different pieces, new power forward, around Caitlin Clark. Imagine when they're in the finals what these numbers are going to do. Folks, last year's WNBA Finals is even on this list. Las Vegas Aces, New York Liberty 2023, 728,000 average. The face of the league against Breanna Stewart and Sabrina Ionescu. That's right, folks. Sabrina Ionescu. A measly 700,000 average? Oh, please. Please. Who's going to watch Unrivaled? Raise your hand. That's my point. They better give her their arm, a leg, and 95% of that company if they want Caitlin Clark to waste her time and donate to charity yet again. If they want Caitlin Clark to waste her time, be a punching bag for the hateful, spiteful, delusional players in the WNBA that think it's hunting season out on the only player that will make anybody watch this product. But it was the NFL Sunday. It was the NFL Sunday no matter where you were in the United States, folks. No matter where you were in the United States, it was NFL Sunday. I don't want to hear it. Caitlin Clark is the needle mover. She is Caitlin Clark Kent. What has she done for the TV networks this year? Attendance figures are one thing. But if there is any measure that defines the Clark experience, it's the television ratings. Each of the league's network partners, ESPN, ABC, CBS, ION, scored a triple-digit increase in viewership this season to a new record high. Prior to this season, the WNBA had not a single million viewer audience since Candace Parker's debut in 2008. It's been nearly 16 going on 17 years since the WNBA saw a million viewed game. Why is that? You guessed it. It's because Caitlin Clark. When she's out of this playoffs, if the Fever somehow get knocked out on Wednesday, which, man, I hope they don't, because I want them to move on and step forward, right? I want Caitlin Clark. I want Kelsey Mitchell. I want them all to play better so we go back to Indiana and close it out at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. But if the Indiana Fever somehow lose against the Connecticut Sun, WNBA season's over for 1.5 million people. WNBA season's over for about 1.5 million people. It's going to go back to the measly ratings that it had before Caitlin Clark showed up. Oh my God, 400,000 people. That's amazing. Trash. Oh my God, 410,000 people. Garbage. Folks, unless the New York Liberty are in the WNBA finals, I don't think anybody's going to get that million view game. I don't think anybody's going to get that million view game unless the Liberty make their way back in the WNBA finals, because Liberty fans, I know they had a bad day on Sunday. They usually come out and they show out for sure. Caitlin Clark, this just goes along with a bevy of her most watched games, right? She had 2.3, 2.25. Her WNBA debut did 2.12 million. And now her WNBA playoff debut, 1.84 million. Caitlin Clark is the only one that people will stop what they're doing to watch play basketball. So stop telling me everybody watches this, everybody watches that. The game is better than it's ever. Stop telling me that nonsense. Stop telling me that people are turning their cable cord cutting. Don't tell me that either. It seems to affect everybody else except for Caitlin Clark. It seems to affect everybody else except for Caitlin Clark. Folks, this was such an issue in the early 2000s that ESPN said, this stuff doesn't rate. Please move it to another network. Please, can we at least just put it on ESPN2? It doesn't rate. In case you guys were wondering where the WNBA went, the president of ESPN said, I don't want this trash product anymore. I don't want this, an executive, said, I don't want this garbage product anymore, right? Mark Shapiro and David Stern, the old NBA commissioner, who, man, if David Stern was still around, I'm sure the NBA would be a much better product than it is now. But those two actually bumped heads, right? They bumped heads. David Stern wanted the WNBA on air, but Mark Shapiro told him flat out, it stinks. The WNBA stinks. It doesn't rate. I don't want it. No one watches it. Men don't watch it. Women don't watch it. My goal is to get it off the air. But they settled with ESPN2. And what do the ratings tell you? We have a draw. 1.8 million views for Caitlin Clark's playoff debut. And then everything else. Men don't watch it. Women don't watch it. It doesn't rate. Get it off the air. ESPN wasted some good airtime putting this stuff on. ESPN could have picked a bevy of different other sports to put on during these windows. During the Atlanta-New York game, during the Phoenix-Minnesota game, during the Seattle-Las Vegas game. They could have chosen tons of baseball games that are going down to the wire as teams race for pennants. But instead, what did they do? They put this on. 400,000 viewers for the WNBA in games not involving Caitlin Clark. You win some, you lose some, but at the end of the day, you sit down and you watch Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. It's the Ben Daniel Podcast. We're calling a spade a spade. I appreciate all the support. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. How bad will the ratings tank when the Indiana Fever are no longer, if they are no longer in the playoffs? Is this the drop-off that you were expecting in viewership once the Indiana Fever and the Connecticut Sun game got finished? It was for me. 400. I thought they were going to do at least six. I thought one of these games could have at least got to 600,000. But damn. Can't even crack 500,000. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. I appreciate all the support. Please like and subscribe. We are in the venue tomorrow. We're in the venue tomorrow. It's only a day away.